Oh my goodness, you guys, welcome back to Young Money Investments. In today's video, we are going to be talking about ticker symbol FRAN. This is probably the most recent parabolic or supernova spiker that we have seen in the markets, and probably the very first one that we are seeing here in the fall of 2019. Today's video, I want to cover what made me decide to take this position, how learning to pick your battles, especially shorting, and when to pick your battle is so extremely important. I want to talk about how I do it, when I do it, why I do it. I want to talk about my levels of support, my levels of resistance, and how you too can be able to make thousands of dollars. Currently, I'm in it roughly at about $1,000 in unrealized gains. I should be at somewhere right around $1,700 when all is said and done in this position. Now, again, these plays are out there, these tickers are out there, and they are going to continue to pop up over and over and over again. And that's why it's very important to understand the strategies in order for you to make money as well. Let's cover it, you guys. I'm just stoked that I'm shorting again. Like, it has been so long. I'm just glad, like, I missed the summer weather. I'm gonna miss the summer weather, but you guys, fall weather definitely brings in a lot more liquidity in the penny stock market, and that's why you need to be prepped and prepared. And that's what we're gonna talk about all today on Young Money Investments. All right, you guys, so I cannot tell you how excited I am to be shorting again. This is one of those things that I love to do, and during the spring, winter to spring months, I was crushing it. I was doing roughly about $1,000 a day shorting, and then I had to go out and do summer sales, manage the sales teams, and really, dedicate a lot of my time to that job. Now, the nice thing is the penny stock market dries up considerably during April, May, June, July, August, and then it starts to come back in September, and then October, November, December, you're seeing a lot of liquidity in the markets. So with that being said, this is probably the very first parabolic spiker or supernova that we have seen in the stock market, at least here in September 2019. So let's take a look at the charts. I'm going to just give you a brief overview of the 4-hour or 180-day chart here on FRAN, or Francisca Holdings Company. So before we really go into the technical analysis of this massive candle, I mean, guys, like, look at that jump. Like, look at that massive jump. We're talking about jumping from $5 all the way up to like $18.33. Let's talk about how this jump happened. Let's talk about how all this happened. But first, you need to understand a little bit more about FRAN. All right, you guys, so I just pulled this up here on FinViz to give you kind of a little bit more of an idea of ticker symbol FRAN, or also known as Francisca Holdings Corporation. Anytime that I'm doing a short, especially on some of these low float companies, a low float company or a company that has very little shares, that's what a low float company is. You need to understand and see how many shares are outstanding, which in this case is really good. A lot of the shares that are outstanding are in float. So this is the scary number right here. If you take a look here at the short float, it is 43.62% short. So that tells you that a lot of people do not believe that this company should be valued this high and that this should be down. The problem with this, though, is what this does for people is this number right here means that you can manipulate the stock a lot because there's not a lot of shares outstanding. What this in turn does, and this is really important for people to understand, is when there's a lot of short sellers, that means people can buy more shares and start forcing shorts out. They have to cover because their accounts are going to get blown up. So this is a very dangerous number, definitely. But anytime a company runs this high, it's definitely one of those things where you need to be like, okay, like, you can start getting into short territory up in here. Couple things I want to talk about before I talk about how I got in, where I started averaging in, etc., etc. Market cap is $40 million, not a very large company. Again, this is what I would call a micro float company. It's not very big. Talks about its P&Es. There's really like nothing. It's not even profitable. It's negative, as you see all these things. Sales quarter over quarter, they're negative. The company's going down. This company is garbage for all intents and purposes, guys. This company is not a good company, yet it did run. Now, how do you find out why the company ran? You go down here, you can read some of the news and everything, find out some of their financial quarter results. This is always where I find out some of the news on this. Now, obviously, to save you guys a little bit more time in this video and not go through all the news articles and really get down to the nitty gritty, I want to talk about why I got into this company. Biggest reason is you take a look here at the 5-day, 5-minute chart here. You can see these massive spikes. So I ended up getting in yesterday. I ended up getting in this somewhere right around here. I think I did end up getting in somewhere right around here at support. And if we can zoom in a little bit more here, this will probably make a little bit more sense. I ended up getting into FRAN somewhere up here, probably the high 12s, 1225, 1220, yeah, 1225-ish, and then ended up averaging in. My average cost basis right now is right up here around 1530 to 1540. So again, my cost basis is pretty damn good. Pretty dang good. One of the things that I have noticed with trading FRAN is that it obviously is going to continue to have these little spikes. One of the things that I saw yesterday, I ended up averaging in a little bit more up here. This is where it really started to get scary, was during some of this parabolic move. I mean, we're talking about a move that was 30% in an hour. I mean, we saw quite a bit of movement. But one of the things that I did when I decided to get into this stock was I looked at the 1-year chart to give me some relative ideas of where this thing could run. So what I did was I pulled this up here and I saw the last gap down candle. So where it could fill, where was the gap that this could fill to? The max gap was about $20, right? Roughly $20. But you needed to zoom out a little bit more, or zoom in a little bit more, pardon me, in order to get a little bit better idea of where some more support and resistance was. So this is the 180-day. I need to go back to the 1-year chart. This gives you a little bit better idea of where these candles were topping out at. So there was a wick up here. I said, okay, $14, $13.50, $14 is going to be one level of support. If you can kind of zoom in here, you can see this where this top wick happened. I can zoom in a little bit more. That top wick right there, that was an indicator that was a level of resistance. And then I zoomed out a little bit more and I said, okay, well, where was it touching a little bit more frequently? And you go down here roughly to right about 11.69. So I'd say anywhere between $12 to $11.50 is going to be the next level of support, basically, or resistance. With that being said, and knowing that this company was a major garbage company, I knew getting in anywhere between this level and anywhere in between here was a good play. One of the important things that I think, and a lot of new short sellers do not understand this, is you need to size in small. Now, one of the things I did, because I have not been shorting in this account for quite a while, is I kept my position size very small. This account value is probably somewhere right around $22,000. I should put it up to PDT. I don't know why it's not at PDT. I just kind of like to do a little bit of the 3-day trades and get it up to that PDT because it helps new investors see that. But really, at the end of the day, I did not at any point in time have more than, I believe, 6 or 7% of my overall account value in this ticker until I started seeing the downside. Now, why do I do that? The reason I do that is because a lot of times when you start shorting, you will either see a mentor or you yourself will see, okay, this stock can't go any higher. It's coming up on resistance. I got to just put my full position in it. That's not something that you should do. Really, what you need to do is you need to take a quarter of your position size. Like I said, keep your percentage of your account small. I recommend that you do not do any more than 5 to 10% of your entire account value in one ticker. And you're going to go, Cameron, how am I supposed to make any money? That's the thing, is if you're getting into these parabolic runners, you cannot put all your eggs in one basket. This thing, especially if we come over here to the charts again, this thing spiked, you guys, all the way from like $5 to $18.37. That's 271% in a day, or in 2 days. Like 2 days that sucker ran. So you have to be very cautious. Even if you would have put in 50% of your account, you would have blown your account up trading this parabolic mover. And that is one of the things you need to understand, is based on float, based on if it has very little shares available, that can make these companies go parabolic and really run crazy. So basically what I did yesterday was, like I said, I started my entry point right here at around 1220, got in at 1220, called all this out in my private mentorship group that I was getting in at that range as I was adding, ended up adding and even getting some right up here in the 1770s. So not completely at the top, but I definitely did average in. One point that I really want to make very clear about this as well, though, is there was no time that I had added more than 10 to 15 shares at any given moment in getting in this position. And you go, well, Cameron, why didn't you like at the top start adding a bunch? You don't know where it's supposed to run. Honestly, I had a gap to fill to $20. This thing could have ran another $2 on me before it could have ended up filling the gap and then started its pullback. It didn't do that, but that is the thing that you need to take into consideration as you're averaging up. And that's why most of my averages were anywhere between 5 to 10 shares every time I was averaging. I'd say probably more like 10 shares just to be on the safe side and not give you like a false sense of a false idea or anything. But that's the reality. I started this thing out with 100 shares and worked my way up to a 400 share position. So I multiplied it by 4 times what my initial position size was. But I did it a lot of increments of like 10 here, 10 here, 15 here to get my way up there. And you go, why are you doing that? Because you need to average. Average, average, average is the name of the game, especially when you're shorting these parabolic movers. So as you can see again, you guys, as of today, it definitely has faded down quite a bit from its highs. I mean, we're talking about drops here. If we talk about just the complete from our lows today to our peaks of yesterday, I mean, we're talking about a drop of 28%. I'm currently up, I can't even tell you exactly what I'm up right now. But basically, you know, I'm planning on this being able to drop a little bit more, coming down here to about 1150. That is going to be my point of coverage. And I believe we definitely will see this in the next couple days. So by the time you see this video, I will have already covered. But I wanted to get this video out there now, especially for those that are looking at this, because there is one more thing, and this is, if you've watched this to the end, I want to say this little piece of information for you. There will be pops, there will be spikes, and so if you get a chance, you can still get in on these plays and be able to write it down. The big momentum push is over, but there will be pops, there will be people manipulating this stock. So you need to be careful for that. One more thing, and this is gonna be the last thing. The reason I took this short as well was the locate fees were very inexpensive on TradeZero. We're talking, it was like $4 and some odd cents for 100 shares. So I was paying about 4 cents, 4 point some odd cents per share. That was very little, you guys. When you talk about the scheme of things, I knew that I could afford to hold these shares overnight for multiple days if needed be. And so when a company runs this much, when you know that you can hold these locates and hold these shares overnight, the fees aren't astronomically expensive, that is another major, major indicator for me that I will personally go, okay, I will take this trade. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's anything that you have thought of when you were watching this video, you want to say to me, you want to comment down below, please put it down below. I know I'm gonna get some haters for like shorting parabolic stocks, but you know what? I don't really care. It's okay. We're doing good. We're doing good on Young Money Investments. You guys, I am so excited, so happy that we are getting to this time of the year. And if you are interested in being a part of the private mentorship group, the link is down below as well. I do offer like a free 2-week trial as well. So if you want to get in on that, that's another option. And if you don't really want to do it, that's fine too. If you just came for the video about FRAN, you got it. And I will catch you guys in the next video. Talk to you later. Bye.